Welcome to Carroll Creates, a podcast series produced by Karr Library at Carroll College. Join us as we talk with members of the Carroll community about something they have created and learn about their creative process. Let's dive in with our first episode.
We are here in Helena, Montana at Carroll College with history professor Jeanette Fregulia. Dr. Fregulia, please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell them about your published work.
Thank you very much, Heather. I'm the chair of the history department, and my primary fields of research are pre-modern Europe and the history of the Middle East and Islam, with a particular interest in the trading relationships between the eastern and western parts of the pre-modern Mediterranean, particularly Italy and the Levant. And because of that interest, my most recent publication and my very first book, I'm proud to say, A Rich and Tantalizing Brew, a history of how coffee connected the world, brings together all of my many interests. So,
lovely.
It was a project of love.
How did you first get interested in that topic?
Interestingly enough, when I came to Carroll, almost 13 years ago now, the admissions office asked me to give a guest lecture. And so I wanted to talk about something to prospective students that might be kind of fun and interesting. So I decided to do the history of chocolate, and it became quite a hit. And I do it often now for prospective students and their parents. And while I didn't necessarily want to write about the history of chocolate, I did want to write about the role of food and foodways in history. And I came upon one of my most beloved beverages, and that's coffee. And there seemed to be something missing in that story.
Thank you. How did you decide to transform from an interest into a published format?
Well, initially there was a call for chapters from a scholar at the working with the University of Arkansas Press. And so I submitted my book. I submitted the opportunity for a chapter, and my chapter didn't really fit with the book, but I got a recommendation that maybe I should try to turn it into a whole book. And I did. And I found a home at the University of Arkansas Press, and it's been fantastic.
Congratulations. It's so exciting. What was that process like for you? Were there surprises along the route?
Yeah, there were surprises. I think one of the big surprises is how long it takes. There's always something more to do. There's something more to research. It's hard to let it go, right? That's part of it. Part of it is this general fear of, oh my goodness, is this worthy of anybody bothering to publish and read? And I have to say that a lot of people think that the blind peer review process, it can be intimidating, but some of the best ideas I got were from those anonymous reviewers, including adding the final chapter of the book. So I was very, very grateful for that. And I also discovered the joys of a professional copy editor. Wow, they are invaluable.
Great.
And a professional indexer.
Oh, yeah. What's your research process like, including for this work? What sort of strategies did you use? What hurdles did you face? Did you have specific coping mechanisms?
Besides drinking lots of coffee and sometimes stronger beverages, I make these sort of really elaborate outlines, and they're color-coded, and I take information and I take books, and then I put everything into this sort of massive multi-page outline with ideas and the sources that I'm going to use. And then I try to write from that outline, and it keeps me organized. Another trick that I learned for each chapter was to take the main idea and put it at the top of each page, so I could make sure that as I came back, as I went along, I was coming back constantly to what is the main idea and what is the main argument. Other coping strategies, lots and lots of exercise and lots of time with good friends.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. Describe how you overcame one major challenge during the entire creation and publication process.
One major challenge. I think for me, the major challenge was to believe that even when it was really difficult and things were really going slowly, to believe that this was a project worth doing, to keep reminding myself that this is a project worth doing. And that was really helpful.
And can we just step back a moment? From inception to publication, was that about 2 to 3 years?
It was about 3 years.
Okay.
And in that time, I also had a semester-long sabbatical, which was very helpful.
Great, thanks. Where can people access and buy your work?
Well, they can get it at the Carroll College bookstore. They can get it through the Montana Book Company downtown right here in Helena, Montana. And of course, from all of the usual sources, including directly from University of Arkansas Press, Amazon. It's everywhere.
And your local library, no doubt.
And your local library. I would like to add, and your local library.
Thank you. Are you working on new published works?
I am. I'm slowly working on a couple of book projects, including an edited collection about the medieval Mediterranean, and a longer work that was born out of my dissertation, but it's not really my dissertation, on the role of women in the trade and merchant networks between East and West.
Fascinating. What is one tip or takeaway you would give a student who is doing research?
I'll give the same advice that my dissertation's advisors gave me. Don't be afraid of big ideas. Think boldly. And go to your local library for help.
What is one resource of Karr Library you use and why?
Oh, well, I think I have to have two. Okay. One is just I use the books, the databases, etc. But I lean heavily on the help of the library staff for interlibrary loan, for other options of books that I might get, to prod people along. So I think that the human resources available in the Karr Library are absolutely essential. And if people think they can get their work done without it, that's wrong.
So question number 2 for library. What's one thing that would surprise students to learn about Karr Library?
I think what would surprise students is to realize that they have a good library, an excellent library here at Carroll. And they need to remember the library is not just a space to study, although it's lovely to study there, that there are, between what we have and what the library can get for them is very, very robust. And just everybody there wants to be helpful. And I think that sometimes students have I had a student years ago who said he made the difficult and dangerous trip to the library. And I was very proud of him. And I think students need to realize that the library is not a dangerous place at all. That seriously, I think, kind of intimidating, but it's not. And that everybody there is very, very helpful and wants to help them. And another thing I think surprises students, and mostly because they told me this, they don't realize the faculty also use the services of the library. I don't know where they think we get our information. I have no clue. Sit under a heat lamp. I don't know. But that surprises many of them to realize that we as the faculty heavily utilize the library.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank
Do you have anything to add or anything that you'd like to expand on?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about my work and about the library.
Well, thank you. This is Heather Navratil interviewing author Jeanette Fregulia, author of A Rich and Tantalizing Brew. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.